Ducati just pulled the wraps off the second generation DesertX, and the 2026 model brings some massive shifts in engineering philosophy. We are looking at a brand new engine platform, a completely revised chassis, tweaked ergonomics, and surprisingly, a much lower price tag. Yeah, you heard that right. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into the spec sheet. We will look at exactly what changed from the outgoing 937cc model, figure out how they managed to drop the price by $2,000 in this economy, and discuss what these updates actually mean for you when the pavement ends. Let's do work. Guys, I am wearing Saint motorcycle jeans, who also gave me a discount code for you guys. These jeans are stylish, comfortable enough to wear. I've actually worn these at work, even in the office, and they are 200 times stronger than steel. My discount code is in the description below, and the full review is at the end of this video. I highly recommend these. Check them out. Jumping right in, the most significant update for the 2026 is the powertrain. Ducati officially retired the beloved 937cc Testa engine for this middleweight segment, replacing it with, you guessed it, the new 890cc V2 engine equipped with intake variable timing, or IVT. Not a big surprise. This engine transition is a major talking point because Ducati dropped their signature desmodromic valve system in favor of traditional valve springs. For purists, that might sting, but from an ownership perspective, this is a massive win. Traditional sprung valves are significantly cheaper to produce, and they push your major valve clearance service intervals all the way out to 28,000 miles. If you put high miles on your adventure bikes, your long-term maintenance costs just plummeted. I never thought I'd say this about an ultra-premium brand like Ducati, but together with that discount, this bike can actually save you money. Looking at the output, the new V2 produces 110 horsepower at 9,000 RPM and 68 pound-feet of torque at 7,000 RPM. On paper, the peak numbers are nearly identical to the outgoing model. The story here is how that power is delivered. Thanks to the intake variable timing, you have access to 70% of your peak torque at exactly 3,000 RPM. When you are picking your way through the technical rock gardens or deep mud, you need immediate predictable grunt down low without feathering the clutch. This engine is tuned specifically for that environment. To capitalize on that low-end torque, Ducati also reworked the transmission ratios. Gears 1 through 4 have been shortened. This gives you much better tractability at slow speeds, preventing the bike from stalling out on steep inclines and keeping you directly in the power band on tight trails. Conversely, they lengthened 6th gear. The reality of adventure riding is that you often have to drone on the highway for hours to get to the good trails. A longer 6th gear drops the cruising RPM, reduces engine vibration through the bars and pegs, and improves your overall fuel economy on long highway stints. The DesertX is also a phenomenal all-around road bike, as you can see me riding the prior model here, so I'm really looking forward to feeling the difference between these two, and I'll report back as soon as I do. Moving to the chassis, the frame has seen a total overhaul. Ducati moved away from the complex front steel trellis frame. Instead, they opted for a simpler, lighter aluminum monocoque frame that utilizes the engine as a stressed member, though the rear subframe remains a steel trellis to handle heavy luggage and pillion riders. This new front setup repositions the airbox, making air filter access much faster and easier, a critical detail for anyone riding in heavy dust. Claimed wet weight without fuel is 461 pounds, or 2 pounds lighter than the outgoing model. To help the bike feel even lighter in motion, Ducati made an interesting choice with the brakes. They downsized the front discs from 320 to 305 millimeters, still paired with Brembo M432 monoblock calipers. While smaller rotors might sound like a downgrade, reducing that rotating unsprung mass decreases the gyroscopic effect on the front wheel. That translates into quicker, lighter steering inputs when you are trying to change direction quickly in the dirt. Suspension duties are handled by a fully adjustable KYB setup. You get a massive 46mm inverted fork up front, yielding 9.1 inches of travel. And out back, Ducati integrated a new progressive full floater linkage paired with a KYB shock, giving you 8.7 inches of travel. That progressive linkage is key. It allows the suspension to be plush and compliant over small washboard bumps at the top of the stroke, but becomes significantly stiffer as it compresses to prevent bottoming out on heavy hits or jump landings. Aesthetically, the front headlight and fairing sit nearly an inch lower than the previous generation, improving your field of vision directly in front of the front tire. Cosmetically, Ducati nailed the aesthetic on this one. It retains that unmistakable 1990s Dakar rally inspiration with the signature twin circular LED headlights, which I love, but modernizing them, and the overall lines have been significantly sharpened. In general, I think it's a gorgeous bike. Dropping the front fairing by nearly an inch gives the DesertX a much more aggressive nose-down profile compared to the outgoing model. Furthermore, the reshaped 4.0 4.8-gallon tank visually slims down the entire midsection, stripping away any top-heavy bulk. Finished in the clean matte star white silk livery, it manages to look thoroughly modern while staying true to its retro off-road roots. Ducati also reshaped the riding triangle. They moved the front foot pegs back while pulling the seat and handlebars forward. This means you are in a much more aggressive, commanding attack position when standing on the pegs. The fuel tank is now a 4.8-gallon polymer unit, down from 5.5 gallons. However, the new design carries the fuel much lower on the chassis. This drops the center of gravity and makes the bike substantially slimmer between your knees. And I think that's a substantial improvement over the huge and high-positioned tank on the prior model. On the tech side, this vertical rally-style dash right here is gone. It has been replaced by a horizontal 5-inch TFT display. Of course, you retain the full suite of Ducati electronics, including 6 ride modes and 4 levels of cornering ABS that can be entirely disabled in the Enduro and Rally modes. Finally, let's talk about the price. The 2026 DesertX drops the base MSRP by $2,000. Yes, you heard something very strange coming out of my mouth. They lowered, new vocabulary word for us, they lowered the price by $2,000, bringing it down to $16,995 in the US. This was achieved entirely through platform standardization. By sharing this exact 890cc V2 engine architecture across the Panigale, Multistrada, and Monster lines, and by utilizing a simpler monocoque frame and traditional sprung valves, Ducati drastically reduced their manufacturing costs and passed those savings on. Let me repeat that. Ducati passed those savings on to you and me instead of making their pockets fatter. Wow, Ducati, you get an A++. Thank you. Now, if you watched our recent video on the Ducati Formula 73, you know the brand is making highly calculated moves to dominate 2026. And as a Ducati fan, I couldn't be happier. So tell me what you guys think of the switch to the 890cc V2 and the loss of the Desmo valves. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed and notificationed and all that good stuff. Ride safe, and always remember the motto, bark less, wag more, and always be kinder than necessary.